right, welcome to I'll Take the Over. Oh, sorry. See, I got so many podcasts, I don't even know the name of it.
Hey, start over.
Shooting hoops in the boot. Our first episode of the year. We're going to talk about some high school basketball in Missouri boot. Hang on, let me get my man Charlie Duckworth in. There he is. There he is. He pulled a disappearing act. He's back and forth.
Imagine.
All right, Charlie, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. As we're going to talk about, we've got special guests, David MATHIS, and somebody turned their background down a little bit. Probably Jeremy. I can hear the echo. Anybody else hear it? Okay. But anyway, we got David MATHIS and Lamont Bell on the show tonight, so that'll be interesting. And first things first, we're going to talk about the CARUTHERSVILLE Tigers football season. It just came to an end in the district championship. Jeremy, you want to touch bases on your Tigers? Everybody had a good year, man. 10-2, only lost to one team, so you can't hang your head on that.
No, absolutely not. I'll tell you what, there was a lot of thoughts, positive thoughts going into the game. You know, that just the conditions were so bad in week 5. Valley only scored 37 points in that. Only one touchdown in the second half, and that was on defense. So between looking at all the film and the way the Tigers finished up the season on a high note of winning streak, winning 2 playoff games, everything was on point. But Valley came to play. That's all I can say. They came straight out of the chute, and their passing game is the best by far that we saw all season long, and it was twice as good this time. A big tip of the cap to Coach Dom and his entire staff and all the players, especially all the seniors. Jermonte did score 3 touchdowns in the game, so it wasn't all for loss. It was ended up 63-21. But the Tigers never let up, and that's something that we saw all season long. They absolutely never let up, and it was a heck of a game. Me and Charlie froze our butts off. We were outside for the broadcast, but we pulled through thanks to the good Bootheel Sports Network hoodie I was wearing. And one thing to take away from
Charlie's protected by all that hair. See, Charlie.
It was everything except my hands. I was so warm, and then my hands were just.
What they have you guys outside for, man? Was the booth full?
Yeah, they had a spot for us, and we were excited. We were actually on the second level instead of the third, where all the other booths were, where we were in week 5. And then there was on the second level is where they have the suites where everyone sits in the inside glass. Yeah. And then to the right, it said Bootheel Sports Network on the door. I thought we had our own private booth. I opened the door, and I was outside. And there was no power outside. So, again, thank you to Paul Glass for the extension cord. Then we go to plug the extension cord in. The wall we plugged it into didn't have any power. So I had to go find somebody. And, of course, the only breaker in the entire breaker box that was off was my wall. So we got it all straightened out.
Set you up for failure, man. Set you up for failure.
They were trying. But I have to say that Valley Catholic, as far as the teams that I covered, and of course they were the only 2 losses on CARUTHERSVILLE season this year, but by far the best football team I got to watch in person, and I would not be surprised if they win their 20th state title this year.
They got a bunch in that press box, don't they, man?
Yeah, they did. Radio stations from all over the place, and the fact that we had a spot and we had a local there that stood out there, his older gentleman, real friendly, joked around with us the whole time. So we had company, and I will say that don't forget, coming up in, I think it's December 4th, Jermonte Alexander is up for the Car Trophy, which is the most outstanding Bootheel sports player. He's up for our Bootheel Sports Player of the Year. And Oscar Dominguez, an award that's only been around for in between 10 and 15 years, the defensive player of the year. Oscar Dominguez is a finalist for that too. If he doesn't win it, I'm going to tell you right now, I know I can be biased, but I'd be shocked if he doesn't win it. Charlie, what's the name of that defensive award?
The Darlin Moore.
That's right.
This is the 5th time I've corrected you, Jeremy.
Hey, Charlie, get used to that, my man. We're all old, man. We got you here for the young mind and soul, buddy. Hey, but I'm with you, Jeremy, as a Hey Tie guy and as a Bootheel Sports Network guy. Oscar dominated this year on the defensive side, man. I'm telling you, there was nobody that had as many tackles as him. Last time I looked, he was leading the area in tackles, man. So, I mean, that right there says a lot. He averaging what, 10 or 12 a game, Charlie?
Yeah, it was about probably. I'd even say it was about 13.
Yeah,
13 area. I believe he finished with around 170 to 180.
wow,
I think I had him at 182 tackles. Yeah,
that's crazy, guys.
that's saying something. And he
Chris
had an
Brown, what you
interception
got?
and
You
a
got
touchdown
anything?
in the end zone.
Man, the only thing I can think of is to see where this program was just like 4 years ago when they had the collapse and the coach quitting on these kids. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Coach G, man, what a job. I mean, just a phenomenal
That's
coach.
right.
I know he's got a lot of help on that sidelines and some hometown people, but to come in from New York and just to make the mark he has so fast is just phenomenal. And he's a great guy. I mean, I've got to interview him a couple of times when he first started, and just kudos to him. I mean, because it all starts at the top, and you can tell the Tigers. Hey, they're there, man. They future looks so bright for them. And I'm proud for them.
Charlie, you got anything to add?
Kids absolutely love it.
Well, man, Jeremy always wants to talk.
I mean, it really was a special year. I mean, in my high school, saying career is weird, but in my life at the high school, we really haven't seen a season, like this, where everyone in the school, from the nerds to the jocks to just everyone, like congregated for this team. Like, it was a whole community effort, and it really has been something that I've seen in about a decade, really. When we had Daryl, when we had Elby, it's special this year, and I mean, next year, that senior group, massive.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, people forget Sammy Bryant this year.
He's tough, man. I'll tell you what.
Got to see him another year. Man.
Sammy the Bull.
Well, 31 touchdowns this season, including the playoffs.
It's unreal, man. Hey, I think he's going to be in the running for the Bootheel Sports Network Player of the Year as well. And speaking of Coach G, guys, I got to agree that he is one hell of a man, man. I mean, he is also about the community. He is, I guess, brought the community to embrace the Crowsville Tigers, the Tiger spirit, as he tells Jeremy all the time, play Tiger football. And that is a thing now, man. You see them paint the town that red and white that they used to do back in the 80s and the 90s. And to restore the roar, as he says, he has done every bit of that and then some.
And to not be from here just
That's
blows
right.
my mind.
Right.
I mean, it really does. It's phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Well, and athletic director, I can tell you, because one of my girls is a cheerleader for the middle school. You can't see a Caruthersville athletic event without seeing Coach G somewhere.
Correct. He's at every event. Now we're going to move on to the basketball seasons. We got basketball on the horizon. We actually have a game tomorrow night right here on the Bootheel Sports Network. We'll have Hayti Junior High 7th and 8th grade games, both of those, as Hayti takes on Sykeston at Hayti. And we also got a couple of special guests tonight. We have COOTER head coach David MATHIS, along with Crowsville head coach Lamont Bell, be joining us a little later. Guys, excellent seasons last year for all the teams in the area. So I don't know who's going to have what back, and that's the reason we're start this show here tonight. I know Crowsville is going to have Alexander, Sammy Bryant, the same guys on the football field you're going to see on the basketball court. Is that right, Jeremy?
No, there's no doubt about it. Caruthersville, up and down, are just athletes. They athletes between track and field, football, basketball, and some of them are going to play baseball. and maybe even golf. But the Caruthersville is just built with athletic talent.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Coach Bell, I can't wait to talk to him. He's been around there for a long time, and I've gotten to really know him probably in the last 7 or 8 years, and he's a phenomenal guy as well. When I was at Hayes High before, didn't really know him that good, but what a welcoming guy. I mean, I have nothing but high praise for Coach Bell and everything he's done, and just turning all those guys over there into men. That just throw the basketball aside, because I know about his faith. He's all about faith and family, and just a great asset for the Caruthersville Tigers, and I can't wait to talk to him.
Charlie, you got anything, buddy?
Charlie,
well, on the topic of returning players, the rosters came out yesterday for Caruthersville, and I can tell you there is a multitude of returning talent and incoming talent from even the senior class. Some people are coming in to play this year, and I mean, you got the freshmen that came up, or the 8th graders that came up last year that had a really good middle school season last year that are going to light up on JV this year. And, I mean, really, there are some that probably could have varsity minutes this year. There's a few really, really good freshmen in this group for Caruthersville. Like you said, a lot of returning talent. Jermonte, Sammy, Quan. It's just every single person from last year, excluding the seniors, of course.
Jeremy, do you need to add anything, buddy?
No, I was going to throw it over to Charlie, because Charlie's been talking about basketball since about, don't get me wrong, he loves football too, but he's been talking about basketball since about midway through the football season, so I know he's fired up and ready to go.
Hey, y'all looking at your private chat there. I sent you guys a message. Speaking of basketball, we're going to turn it over now, and Coach David MATHIS is going to join us. Of course, COOTER is one of the good programs around here, man. Baseball and basketball. And David MATHIS, of course, a couple years ago, leading his team to the almost to the Final Four there, and probably should have got there, but that's neither here nor there. Last year, he's coming off a 17-11 year. Graduated a few seniors there. Of course, Gunnels is gone. Banks is gone. So it'll be very interesting to see what COOTER has this year. And we're going to welcome Coach David MATHIS of COOTER. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, you're welcome, man. We appreciate you joining us right here on the Bootheel Sports Network. Coach, give us a little insight into the COOTER Wildcats in 24-25 season. You're coming off a 17-11 season. You lost sharpshooter Banks. You're losing the big man down low in Gunnels. How do you overcome those two right there?
Man, it's hard to do because, I mean, Banks could really shoot it. And then when you got 6'7" in Class 1, he protected the paint. He blocked a lot of shots, and big difference to this year's team. I think our biggest kid's 6'2", but they're freshmen and young, and I think we're going to be really small, but we're going to be pretty fast, and I think we're going to be able to shoot it. So I don't know. We had a jamboree last night. We looked all right in spurts, and then spurts we didn't look good, and so – we're going to be really undersized. So we've been doing a lot of toughness drills with charges and rebounds and different things. But there's nights if we shoot it good, I think we can beat anybody. And then there's nights if we don't shoot it good, we may lose to somebody we ain't supposed to lose to.
Hey, I'm glad you said something about charges, because today it was announced that Nazarena's got a baseball scholarship over to Western Kentucky. And that man, he drew a lot of charges for you. I think he might hold the record in the state.
Yeah, he's number 2 all time, 92 or 95 charges taken in the state of Missouri. So, yeah,
he was hardwood, wasn't
he? Yeah, he took them, and he was he's the first Division I athlete we've ever had at our school, which is, that's a big deal for our school just because how small it is.
That's right. That's a big deal for our area, man. I mean, congratulations on that, man. And you have a lot to do with that, I'm sure, because you had him in baseball and basketball as far as development them there. But you got Rice Lynn who can shoot the ball. You're going to have McIlvain who he can shoot. When he's on, he's on. That kid can shoot it from anywhere on the court, I do believe.
Yeah. Last night was, he shot it really well in the first jamboree against Naylor. I mean, he was shooting it from probably volleyball line or so, and I mean, he hit 5 or 6, and then you got Lynn. They've been a part of winning teams. They've been in the district championship every year. They may not have played, but they've been in district championships every year they've been in high school. So played against good people in practice. And then our junior high bunch coming in, which will be freshmen now, they were 32-2 over the last couple of years. And I know y'all talked about Caruthersville's middle school. They had some success against them. And, my son will be a freshman this year, and coaches don't like to talk about their own kids, but he's super athletic and has a chance to be really good. If I don't ruin him or mess him up or whatever, but you know how it is. We got to be a little tougher on them probably than the others. So,
hey, let's talk about your staff. You got anybody join you this year as far as coaching?
Yeah, my brother's actually going to come over and help this year. Josh Mathis, he was at Delta C7 for a couple years. I think he, won a junior high conference and a JV conference, and then took them to a district championship. So that's a big help for me. The kids really like him. He does a good job of playing good cop to my bad cop. So, but it's fun when you get to coach with your brother. So, should be pretty entertaining, I would say.
I was wondering about that. How's it going to be with your brother? Have you always been the bad cop and him be the good cop?
Man, we got another brother. They're twins, and so
I got you.
Man, if we're all three together, I don't know how it'll go. So, but no, he'll do a really good job. He's going to coach the JV, and he's been there, and he works on the weekends and does some different things outside of school. So, should be good. We got high expectations of them because if we're in Class 1, we've always fared pretty good in Class 1, and I think we'll be in that again. I'm glad I'm not in Class 2 because that's about to be the toughest thing in the world, probably, especially if Charleston or Malden drop in there. So it could be really, really good for that Class 2 district's tough. So.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of your schedule, man, you open up Friday night. Is that right?
Yeah. We got some, probably you would say lesser competition games early. And then, as we get in after Christmas, we'll get into Hayti and into Risco and Clarkton and go down the line with South Pim and Holcomb and all them. So
Porterville's on there.
Yeah, early on it's not as probably tough, but we're young, so we need to learn how to win, and we may not win those games. But right now I'm really proud of their effort they've given. I mean, they're going at it pretty good in practice, and we had a really tough one today because, like I said, I didn't think we played real well last night in one of those games, and so we got after it today for about 2.5 hours, and it was really physical and no fouls called, and I just told them they're going to have to be tougher. If you're 5'9", 6 foot, all of them, you better be tougher than people because we're not going to out tall people. So
you got to put that body on them, don't you?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I think it was maybe 84 when LSU went to the Final Four. Ricky Blanton was like 6'3", playing center for LSU, but kid played great, man. I mean, he just bodied them up. So it's what you got to do when you're smaller, man.
Yeah, if you watch Bernie a couple years ago when they had that good bunch, and I think they got upset in the district tournament the year we won the district. They was really small, and he did some things, in which I always look at their program because how much they've won with whatever they've got. But man, it's just amazing. I'll call him and I'll say, man, what do you got to do? And he's like, you got to either go fast or you got to be tough. So, and that's just, how it is. In high school sports, if you're tough, a lot of times you're going to win some games you ain't supposed to. So I'm hoping that's what we do. I'm hoping we give, give effort every night. Like I said, them nights that you decide you don't want to show up and play, we'll get our brains beat in, and they'll learn from that. But trying to bring freshmen along, you know how that is. If you're starting a couple freshmen, it's tough, going against 18-year-olds when you're 14 and 15-year-olds. So.
Right. So tell us some players to watch for this year, man, that you feel like you got. I guess you got captains on the team and players that show leadership, and
you got
go from there.
You got, obviously the returners. You got Jade McIlvain will probably be our point guard, 2 guard, who can really shoot the ball. Rice Lynn, he's 6'1", 6'2". Hopefully he'll grow a little bit more, but he played really, really well, and he's been real consistent in practice. And then we have a kid that, was on our JV last year, Alex Sykes. He's a sophomore, and he had 83.
He can shoot too.
He had 83s last year in the JV, and I think, there was a couple games he hit 12 and 13 threes in games, so he can really shoot it. Then we got another senior in that spot that plays, Jack Watkins. Just a good, tough kid that, knows his role. Brayson Green, really, really good baseball player, but he's really physical inside. I'm just trying to get him and a couple of the other so-called post players that are 6 foot, to take charges and, be physical rebounders. And then our younger guys, like I said, my son, he can really score and athletic, and, he had a really, good junior high season last year. I think he averaged 33 points a game, and he had 50 against Caruthersville's middle school last year. So he's got the capabilities to be really good. But like I said, he's still 15 years old going against 18-year-olds. So he's got he's in the weight room and doing things to get stronger. And then, a couple of our other freshmen, Jackson Brooks, he's probably our tallest kid. He looked really good the other night in our jamboree, and I think we're going to be deeper than what we were last year. Like I said, we're a lot faster, and we're going to be able to pressure the ball. But it's nice when you have 6, 7 standing there to meet those guys. But like I said, we don't have that, and we'll do what we got to do to combat that. But should be a fun year. We should be fun to watch. You know how it is. We like to get after it. I like to get after it, and just hopefully we're Class 1 again, and we'll push again to try to get in that district championship. That's the goal. And I told them I'll never forget what happened a couple years back, and unless we can get back to that spot or further, and you still won't forget it because you don't know, because that group was probably had a chance to win a state championship. But I told our group last year, had you won that district, you'd have had a chance maybe to make a run at it too, because you never know when it's a 1-game set against somebody. So, but I'm looking forward to coaching this group. Obviously looking forward to coaching my own kid, because I've missed a lot of their life, coaching for the last 14 years when they're, growing up. So, kind of exciting. Got an 8th grader coming in too. That's my other son. He'll be in high school next year. So, I think we got a good future coming. I'm going to return 99% of our scoring next year. So, should be an exciting couple of 3 or 4 years for us if everybody stays healthy and everything works out. You know how that goes, though.
Right. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you got McIlvain just going to be a junior. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like I said,
and then Lynn's a junior. Is that right?
Yeah, Lynn's a junior, and then a lot
of
those guys.
Who are your seniors?
Lance Lucy played a little bit last year, varsity-wise. Jack Watkins, and then we had a new kid, Jaden Simmons, who has been at our school, a really physical kid, and I think he's going to help a lot, and he's gotten a lot better, a lot stronger. Probably needed to go play football somewhere.
Hey, that's COOTER Chris's son, Chris Brown. COOTER Chris Brown's son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's athletic, and he's strong, and he likes to mix it up. And had he played several years, and a lot of those kids, a lot of kids didn't play because you had that group that was going through that was, it was hard to play. Obviously, you had, that group that won 26 games, and then the JV bunch, I think they won 15 or 16, won our conference, and So it was hard to play. And, a lot of kids sometimes they don't want to fight and, get, playing time or have to work for that playing time. But he really did good last night in the jamboree, and he's really physical kid. So I like my seniors. They know their roles and they can shoot the ball a little bit. And like I said, they're just, we know guys that are going to shoot it a lot. We got 3 or 4 of them that's going to shoot it a bunch. And, I think those guys accepted it last night. They looked for them. And then, which, if you know me, I don't care. If you don't like playing for me other than getting hollered at, I don't say a whole lot when you shoot that ball. I like to see it fly. So, I always tell them, you're not ever going to hear me say that's a bad shot. I'm normally saying pull it when you touch it. So, but it should be a fun year. Hopefully we'll stay healthy and compete in Class 1.
All right, that's all the questions I got, Jeremy. We'll turn it over to you, buddy.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us. I'm sure we'll cross paths several times. I know that you don't, barring any tournaments that pop up, Caruthersville and COOTER don't meet up, I think, until the final game of Caruthersville's schedule in February.
I think
so.
Yeah, I think we removed that this year. We had a kind of a conflict. We removed that game from this year. Yeah, last year we went over to Caruthersville and they beat us, but it was a great atmosphere. I mean, it was packed and man, had a lot of fun. The kids got after it and no issues. And I know they had last year a lot of people didn't want to play and all that stuff that went on, but man, like y'all said before, Lamont Bell is a great guy, and Lamont Bell, high character, and you like you said, it's more than basketball with him, and I got nothing but respect for him. We had, they whooped our tail, and I can deal with that, but man, it was fun going over there and just getting after it. And like you guys said, they're super athletic, and they should be really good again. He does a great job.
He does, and you answered basically one of my main questions was, you're pretty diverse when it comes through freshmen through seniors. It sounds like, do you know your starting 5? Does that include one from each level, or?
That starting 5 will probably, it'll be probably 3 juniors, a freshman, and a senior. But early on in the season, I tell them, they're not really getting into a rhythm, because in practice I'll start how they practice. So if the day before game I got somebody that's pouty and not wanting to work, they may not start the next day and probably won't start the next day. But I kind of base it on that creates a competitive practices, because they'll get a chance to play. And then which there's times there's kids that they all work hard, and I feel like in games and practices, you're showing up to play, and I think parents get their feelings hurt because they're like, my kid works, but what are you playing sports for? You should be working hard. So everybody's not going to get to play. But me coaching baseball and basketball, I've started 9 freshmen in baseball. I've started, a bunch of young ones in basketball. I've started old ones. I mean, there's no discrimination in that part. I'm gonna play who I think gives us the best chance to win, who works the hardest, and they all should work hard. But how it gets with parents, they hold that like it's almost like they don't care if just their kid plays and 4 other one plays. It don't matter. But that's not me. I don't go that way.
Exactly right about that. And sometimes the parents can be the biggest fans, but they can also put a damper on it sometimes. I understand that. Yeah. I know I look forward to seeing you. I'm a big basketball fan. I'm a big sports fan in general. So depending on what nights, where I'm at, where the Bootheel Sports Network's at, I plan on catching you as early as possible. Because if there's anything I know about COOTER always seems like they've got some guys that, like you were mentioning, can just hit threes, just can pull up and drop and fire just out of nowhere. So I really look forward, and it sounds like you're going to be a pretty fast-paced team. Do you know, defensive-wise, without giving anything away, obviously, are you kind of a press defense, or do you stay back and man?
Man, and it just depends on a lot of times who we play. we'll press a lot. I've jumped defense people a lot. I got a lot of buddies in Arkansas that a lot of guys around here don't see the stuff they do. So I'll call, and sometimes I'll, they'll come up with some defense, and I'll use it, and it works. But we're going to be really fast paced, and we're probably going to press as much as we can press. But without giving too much away, obviously we're going to shoot it a bunch and try to get as much as possessions as we can in the game.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm a Caruthersville guy, but we're all a family down here in the Bootheel, so I really look forward to seeing you. And just because you opened the door, you realize at some point we're going to have your boy on and talk to him about what it's like to have not just dad as coach, but then two uncles right behind the scenes with him as well. We're going to have that at some point.
Yeah, well, I don't know what he'll say, because his first couple practices, he probably would say, what Dad said, I don't ever need to talk about again. So,
hey, we all
Chris,
us that played ball in the '80s, we understand.
Hey,
go ahead, Chris. You got anything?
All right.
Yeah, Coach, it's really an honor, privilege to talk to you. We hadn't crossed paths a whole lot, but one thing I do like about you is, and it stands out to me, is you're like a Bootheel Conference coach trapped in the Tri-County Conference. And what I mean by that is you go hard on your players, you expect a lot out of them, and you know how to work the refs. Your coaching style, is that something, I think it's probably evolved, or is that something you've had since the beginning? And first, answer this question. Growing up, did you want to be a coach? And I guess, how has your coaching style evolved over the years?
Well, I did not want to be a coach. I played, I threw the baseball really well in college, and, in high school and college. And like everybody, you think you're going to go do something. Well, I have elbow surgery and go on, and, but, never wanted to coach really. And then, was working for Pepsi and didn't like that. So got into coaching. And actually my first coaching job, I was a baseball coach, but Jason Long at Bernie was the coach on paper. So I coached it. And then, I played for Delane Beckwith, and I don't know if you guys know him or know of him from back in the day. And, my high school team, we were 27-2. My senior year, got beat in the quarterfinals to the state champion. And, he paddled us. He did. I want to go too far, so we don't have to get him put on KFBS 12. But, man, he was great. We love him. He coached at COOTER too, and they loved him. And I started coaching with him, and then I coached with Brian Brantner, who's, been to the Final Four and state championship game a couple of times. And then I started coaching, and those guys were really high strung, and I was out of control probably for the first 2 or 3 years with refs and different things. Just immature. I think I've gotten better, but I think they know now that if I want a technical, a lot of times or something, I'll go say, you better give me one, or I want to give them a show, but it's the more to give my kids, to get my kids playing hard. But man, I try not to get on them as bad now, like I said, I was really out of control early, but, but no, I didn't want to be a coach. But man, I've just learned from, I call coaches every day, and we bounce ideas and different things. Nothing I've got, I'll tell you, one of my guy I talk to a lot is Coach Pitts at Thayer. You want to talk about a guy that's really, really, really good. He's helped me a lot in my career, especially the last probably 3 years. And, I talk to him a lot. I talk to Brett Reed at Hartville a lot. And I like to call coaches I'll call a state champion in baseball from everybody that touches Missouri normally. And I normally do the smaller schools. And just because, you can bounce ideas off of them. And really what it comes down to at the end of it, it's Jimmy's and Joe's. Everybody, if you get a practice plan from Coach Dinkins at South Iron, it looks similar to mine, but I don't have South Iron players. And I don't have, Hartville's players or South Bend's players. And so we try to create a toughness that that keeps us in game. We're going to be in shape. They go out to the levee at the river, and I run them up that levee and 50, 60 times, and then I drop them off on the way back and make them run back. I mean, in our school, we're fortunate enough that our admin and they allow us to do it. They allow me to coach them hard. There's times I probably go overboard, but our kids know that I'll do anything in the world for them. So I think that's why it's, they allow it. And like you said, some people don't like it. Some people hate me. Some people don't, which I don't care. I don't lose sleep over that. But because they know I'll do whatever I can for the kids. So, but man, other than that, I just bounce ideas off everybody. And I didn't invent basketball. I didn't invent baseball. So I call college coaches, and I'll tell you, one I'm really close with, and you wouldn't believe, is Tony Vitello. I talk to him at least one time a week, the baseball coach in Tennessee, and just great dude. Like, he's helped me with different things. Whenever that stuff happened a couple of years ago, he made a little video on our Facebook page talking about adversity and different things. And that's what I do. I just try to network, and then that helps my kids go to college too. You get, I can call people, and I always tell them, if I don't know them, I got people that do know, and they can help. And we've helped kids from other areas and other schools and all that. And that's just, that's got to be your goal as a coach, to help the kid go to the next level or get a job or, whatever. And that's, and a lot of these coaches around here do that. There's a lot of them that do that. So, and like you said, Lamont Bell's one of those guys, and Jordan McGowan's one of those. We got really good coaches in this area, and we got really good coaches in our conference. Risco's coach is one of the best. I said if Risco's coach had like big time talent at other schools, he'd no telling how many state championships he'd have. He does a really good job. Clarkton's coach does a really good job. And Mr. Buchanan's been at Gideon for 40 years, so there's just really good coaches. I don't see myself as a good coach. I just try to learn, and then I try to push kids. And if they buy in, we do good. If they don't, it may go the other way.
Well, I tell you, Coach, you might not think you're a good coach, but I will tell you this, and I'll be honest about it. When I'm flipping through and I see a COOTER game, I'm going to stop, because as an old school guy, I really enjoy watching you coach. I've kept the scorebook in Hayti for probably 13 years. Seen a lot of coaches on both sides of the ball, and I just really enjoy your style and the way you just go after it. It's a serious thing with you. I know that you want to win that game, and also playing your best players, not necessarily the most popular players, is another thing that stands out to me. Before I turn it over to Charlie, one more thing, Coach. Did a little research. You have won 95 games in the last 5 years. As each new season comes along, how much pressure do you feel? I know you've had a couple of 20-win seasons, and then you had 17 wins. Is there any pressure at all, Coach, to start each season, or is it just a fresh, new crop of kids? We're going to do what we do, and that's it.
Well, they don't create that pressure at our school, because I'll tell you that when I got this job, and it was different superintendents and administration, they just said, hey, have 2 teams. Because if you go back and look, when I took our program over, there was 4 winning seasons in the history of our program. And so they were like, keep two teams, make them act right, make them look right going to games. And we do that, but I took that personally, and I think my first 2 years we got, our brains beat in, which we were in. I've been in Class 2 for 8 or 9 of my 13 or 14 years. So, and then there was 4 years there that Class 2 district went to the state Final Four. So with Hayti, with the Burdens, and then Bloomfield and Scott County Central and all those teams. And so it was, they just said have 2 teams. I took it personally. I've had several job offers, and there's just something that I want to get done, I think, before I move on. And that way, I just hope I leave my mark on it. I think we're going to leave it better than we got it, because when I took it over, it wasn't real good. And so I think now when people play us, I think they, like you said, hey, we got them on the schedule. If you don't play, they may beat you. And back in the day, I think it was, you're going to drive down there and you're going to leave pretty quick. And I just try to tell our kids, man, when they come in the building, we're locking the doors, and it's going to be a fight, and that's just how it's going to go. So, but there's no pressure. I just put it on myself probably because I'll get no sleep and I won't ever sleep for the next 4 months. So, but I love the kids, and I hope they love me, and then we're going to get after it. So, and I appreciate you saying that. But like I said, I don't consider myself in that top echelon of coaches. I think, I'm just a hard worker, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Well, one thing about COOTER, there ain't nothing soft in COOTER, and I think it all starts with you, Coach, and that baseball and basketball as well. So
I appreciate
we'll
it.
see you on down the road somewhere, I hope. Maybe I'll do a game or two on the Bootheel Sports Network, but I'll turn it over to Charlie. Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show. I really have one question, one, and Mark really stole it earlier, but
stole his thunder.
I'm asking better terms. So you start off your season, obviously, as the ticker says down there, versus Kip on Friday at Kip. And then you go Marquand Zion, and then Northeast Christian Home Educators. I'll look that one up. And then you go North Penn, Kip, Southland, Naylor, and then the Zenith Christmas Tournament, and then after that, it's really, you hit, hard. You got games like Hayti, Delta, Risco, South Penn, Portageville. How much do you think those early games, as you said earlier, the lesser competition, how much do you think those can elevate your team to get prepared for a Hayti or a South Penn or Portageville?
Well, I don't. Early on, with a young team or with any of our teams, I've basically I try to do it this way. You play some games and think you can win. And I'll tell you guys this, Southland's going to be so much better this year with a couple move-ins and stuff. They got a chance to be really good too. But with all the move-in, we play.
Hang on, David. Somebody moves in the Cardwell.
Yeah, they got a kid from Greene County Tech that's a pretty good player.
Oh, there you go. He's
a pretty good player, but hey, I'm telling you, they got all those kids back, and they're not bad. They're going to be a surprise team. But, early on, no, and I had a coach tell me this one time, you can either do it one of two ways. You can play hard all the way through and, be ready at the end. But I always like to start out to give them some confidence, and then maybe some 50-50 games in the middle, and then through the rest of that time, if we lose and we compete, I'm okay with it. I'm not saying I'm okay with losing, but I'm just competing. But, especially with a young team this year, I thought it was early to, maybe, and that's not to say we'll win any of those games, but, I don't think we could have jumped in there and just went, Hayti, Portageville, South Penn in the first week of the season, or being at Bulldog Classic or any of that. That Zenith tournament's going to be really good with Zenith and Campbell and a couple of those other schools in there. They got, both of those teams are going to be extremely good. So hopefully, we're pushing the 5, 6, 7, 8-0 mark going into that tournament. And we could be 0-7. But, after Christmas, I don't care. Our conference tournament, I normally break it down into first, like the first quarter, second quarter, and our conference tournaments the third quarter, and then we go into district the fourth quarter. It's kind of how I try to break it down. And by the end, if you ain't ready to play, which, the Bidwells always said at the end of the year, it's the best time of the year, because if you win, you keep moving. If you lose, you go home and you ain't got to deal with it no more. So, it's just a grind, man. And early on, I chose this time not to really put them through a grind, but hopefully games we can win. And then after Christmas, it's going to be tough. We're playing 3 days a week and not a lot of prep time, and really just focusing on our conference games, and then hoping, obviously Hayti is going to be really, really good. South Penn's going to be really good. Portageville's going to be Portageville because they're Portageville. And Gideon's going to be a lot improved. I mean, there's going to be teams that are much improved. And like I said, I think on a given night, we can clip people because we can shoot it. But you know how it goes. You live and die by it. So if it ain't going in, then we may have a problem. So
that game Friday night, Coach, that kit at Blytheville, they have a campus, or is that game going to be? Where's that game actually going to be at?
That game is going to be in Luxor, Arkansas. So they don't have a home gym. They used to use ANC, I think, in college, but I don't think they use that anymore. So it'll be in Luxor, Arkansas. I've never been there. Don't know a whole lot about them. Last year they had a team and then didn't have one, but a couple of years back they had some really athletic freshmen, sophomores. So I would assume those kids are juniors and seniors now, but I don't know a whole lot about them right now. I don't do a lot of scouting early. We're just trying to put our stuff in, and if somebody plays us a certain way, hopefully we'll have a few things in that we can do against them. And obviously we're going to press and shoot the three, so there's not a lot I'm going to change regardless early of what I'm going to do. So.
All right, Coach, I guess that's all we got for you, man. I appreciate you joining us here on the Bootheel Sports Network. Best of luck to you on the season. I think we will have some games of yours probably starting in December on the network, man. So we will catch up with you later on the season, man, and appreciate what you do for the area and the COOTER Wildcats especially. And thanks for coming on to the Bootheel Sports Network.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for all y'all do.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. That is Coach David Mathis of the COOTER Wildcats. And now we're going to add Roseville head coach Lamont Bell to the stage. Let me get him out of that green room. He's been waiting for a while, guys, so he might be a little frustrated at us. There he is. How you doing, Coach?
What's going on, fellas?
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Sitting there watching a little basketball.
Ain't nothing like it. Who you watching?
Ohio State girls playing.
There you go. Even watch the girls, right?
Yeah. Whatever.
They can shoot that.
Got a ball.
They can shoot that thing too, man.
Sir.
All right, Coach, man, let's catch up with you a little bit, man. I know last year was kind of a rough year for you. Had some issues going on early. You recuperated from that. Got back into conference, man, and I believe I got your schedule here. Last year you went 14-12. You had to add a lot of games. You had to go across the border, if you will, to play some games, and O'Brien County, Dyersburg helped you out, but this year it seems like your schedule is back on track. So tell us your thoughts on last year overall and then where you're headed this year, returning players to look for and all that, man.
Well, yeah, last year was kind of, I'm going to say unbalanced. We started out strong. We lost games, didn't know which direction we was going to go. And luckily, from knowing some other coaches, we was able to put a schedule together, which was really good. It was the fact that we was on the road so much, and like 40, we really didn't practice, and it kind of wore on us, late games, and caused us to lose a couple of games at that. But that's in the past. Our schedule is really strong. Actually, it's probably a tough schedule. We're looking forward to getting started. I returned 4 or 5 starters. We got Alexander, got Santa Brown back, Hugh McVeigh, Kobe Sargent. Right now, we know their 5th spot. We got several guys that can fill it. We're going to be, I think we're pretty tough. We've been in the gym about a day. It's already started together, so we're liking what we're seeing.
Okay, you're going to have some size too, man. I believe. How tall is McVeigh, man? He's like 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, he shot up over the summer. He's like 6'2". Sargent is about 6'2", 6'3". Even Jamonte looked like he grew maybe like 6'1". Sammy still strong, fast, but we got even some guys moving up. Eric Rogers, about 6'2" now, and he'll play different varsity. Gordon Mosley, he's about 2. We got 5. we had a move in from Dyersburg that's going to help us tremendously. He'll be one to kind of watch as well. So I'm pretty.
Hey, Coach, a lot of these guys are just rolling over for football. How many practices have they have any practices yet? And when will they be ready for you feel like basketball season?
Well, we actually came in Sunday just to get up and down the floor a little bit, kind of get their wind up, get football. But I think, of course, nobody was ready before Christmas. Uh, I think it'll be fine. Open up in uh, there, so we're gonna use that to kind of ourselves. You know?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Coach, thanks for joining us. I look forward to the season. First thing I noticed, and I'm looking at the schedule, I'm not sure how updated it is because I was wrong already about the COOTER game, but it looks like you're starting out, it's almost half and half. Most of your games are going to be on the road. I know you got 2 home games thrown in the middle, but a lot of games on the road and then a lot of games at home. Is that something that you planned, or is that just how it worked out?
Well, of course, we're gonna open up. We'll be home against Kelly. She'll be home against Portisville. Then we go away to South Pembroke. So before Christmas, don't be so I don't we can't get it together right there. It'll be a long season, but myself and Coach Noel, and Noel really had the biggest part to do with this. He really got out there and found us some great competition. I was just like, whoever want to play us, you make it happen, and we'll go play them because, we knew we had a shot. We should have a shot in our district this year. You can't count anyone out, but we want to go in there with a strong presence, and we want to play some of the best competition that's out there.
Well, you're definitely going to. There's no doubt about that. Looking up and down, and Mark touched on it, and I was it was one of my biggest questions because it was just been 6 days ago that the football season ended. Um, what was it for you? What was it like? You said you got them together Sunday. How easy is it for you to switch that football mentality off and basketball mentality on? Because you got a lot of those guys that were on the football team that are just all around athletes. And I know they're ready to ball. I see them at all even the middle school games. But is it a difficult transition from going basically from the field to the court?
No, we kind of used to that around here. Our football programs, been fairly, really decent over the years. Jimmy's era, I would always get them, a week or so before the games, and then Coach Giz came in and turned the program back around, and we knew we was going to get them late, and I was perfectly fine with that. I was actually hoping to get them another week or two late, but it is what it is. They came in Sunday. They was ready to go. Everybody worked hard. We went about 2 hours of just getting up and down the floor with drills and conditioning. Nobody complained. We just got after it, and we had a good one yesterday, and we had a good one today. So these guys know what's at hand. They know the potential they have, and they know what's we can possibly do once everybody buy in. So they accepted it. We congratulated them on what they did. We just want to keep that ball rolling with success. And they look good body wise. Coach G had them in shape. They moving good. We didn't have many bruises and things like we had last season. So I think we'll be okay.
Oh, I got a feeling you will. And when it comes to the conditioning part, that was what I was going to get at. I'm sure a lot of them are coming in well, just about perfect shape because it was such a hot summer. We didn't have a cold football game, I think, until Friday night.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, these boys have been working in the heat since midsummer, and you want to talk about conditioning in Caruthersville? I played for Joe Cagle, and I remember we usually started out about 30 kids were trying out, and the first 2 weeks of practice was nothing but conditioning. By the time we made it to the season, I'm pretty sure I think we had 11 players left. So conditioning is a big factor in basketball. People don't understand it until they run up and down the court for 4 quarters.
Yeah, we start practice generally after we stretch. Our first 45, 50 minutes basically is just getting up and down the floor with the weaves, the 3-man push, fast break drills. It's just constant running for like 45 minutes, man. And we put times on a lot of stuff. And so them guys really, once we start practice, they really don't get a break after that first 45, 50 minutes. Then we'll break off into practice. But like I said, everyone's been giving it 100%. No one's been loafing. I feel like they're ready. I think they got a point to prove on the way some things happened for them last year. So we just hoping that this is a smooth year, no setbacks, and that we can really get out and show people what we can do.
Well, if there's one thing I know for sure about these, I hate to call them kids, but they're kids, they're boys, they're men, they're young men. These guys, I think unity is the best way to put it, because from the football players that play on the team to the guys that didn't play the football that still supported them in school, Charlie knows. And then, it goes the same way with the crowd. That Caruthersville is going to be packed every single night that you guys play. There's no doubt about that. Not just packed, but loud. And I know the guys feed off that. I know I do, just calling the games. So, Caruthersville's got your back. In those stretches, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chris. In those stretches that you are away from home for several games at a time, what do you have to do to keep the momentum on your side?
Well, I think we'll have a good following this year. I think people will actually travel to watch these guys play. You just gotta keep them motivated. That's the biggest thing. Keep your guys motivated. Let them know this is what it takes to win. You got to be able to win big on the road if you plan on going further in your season. So being away it humbles you. It makes you appreciate your home crowd. It makes you appreciate coming out when you're on the road, looking up, seeing 20 or 30 people in the crowd that's coming to support you. So I'm going to just do my best, man, Coach Noel, to keep them motivated, keep them encouraged, and just, we got to play hard. I mean, I was listening to Coach MATHIS, and, you just have to play hard to compete, and it don't matter what conference you're in anymore, who you play. There's not really any easy teams out there anymore. Everybody's in the gym year-round. They're working out. You just can't look at your schedule anymore and say, well, we should get this game, we should get that game. That's the thing of the past. I mean, you step on anybody's floor, you got a game to play.
I couldn't agree more. I think you couldn't have said it any better. Coach, in the short time that I've gotten to know you a little bit better and following your games, covering your games, you've always shown me nothing but the utmost respect. I appreciate that. And Chris, you take it over. I just want to say, Coach, good luck on the season, and I can't wait to be up there. You'll hear me. I'll be just as loud as you will, but it's going to be a fun season. I promise you that. So good luck, Tigers.
I appreciate you. Can't hear you, Chris.
There we go. You hear me now?
Had old mute button on.
Yeah, I had old mute button on. I was just going to say, Coach, as an old Hey Top boy, I ain't ashamed to scream to the world that, you're really one of my favorite people, Coach. I didn't know you that well some years ago, but over the last few years and everything that Caruthersville has been through, before I get into my question, and just want to let you know that, the way you've handled everything with so much class is just phenomenal. Just speaks to you as a person, and as a Bootheel guy, I just want you to know that, and I know that you don't want to live in the past, and whatever's happened. But it just has to be said that the way you've handled everything, just classy. You're just a stand-up guy, and I'm just I'm better off for knowing you, and so, but getting past that, you start next Friday afternoon. Actually, you play at the River Bend. It's a tough tournament, some good competition in that thing. I guess you play at 3:30. Is that West Memphis that you start out playing with against?
Yes.
And then who's that other team? I know they got like a Patriot symbol with an M. I didn't.
Marion, Arkansas.
Oh, Marion. Okay. I know you're licking your chops, and if you ain't, you ought to be when I look at your roster, because the athletes that are on here, man, you've got to smile, Coach. I mean, I know you don't take nothing for granted, but just talk to me about how excited you are for this year for Crowsville basketball.
I'm very excited. Like I said, I honestly feel if things wouldn't have went the way they did last year, that we really had a shot for our conference and going into the districts. But it was just a lot of things that weighed on us that kind of got us out of our game plans. So coming into this year, it's we kind of got a chip on our shoulder. And just in the last couple of days, watching the guys, how they getting after it, how they competing, talking on the court, just doing everything a good basketball team's supposed to do, in just 3 days. So that gives me a lot of hope that we're gonna come out and compete, and like I said, if we can stay healthy, keep everybody out. I'm just honored that all my guys right now are sitting on honor roll, so that makes a coach feel good going into this semester. So I'm really proud of this team as of right now, and I really think we can do some great things going forward.
Another thing too I wanted to ask you about, you ain't necessarily got to have this, but a lot of good teams that are really, really good do, and that's team captains, but team leaders.
Right.
Who are your team leaders, Coach?
Well, right now, front and foremost, it'd be Monte Alexander. Y'all been watching the kid in football. He's just a special talent. He's really been going hard right now in practice. He got his mindset. He's ready to make that next move. And like I told him, I said, a kid of your caliber, you don't need to go out without some kind of big championship under your belt. He needs that out. We was hoping he can get one in football, but we got their back. We're gonna try to get it in basketball. I got Sammy, Brian. He comes out every day, goes hard. I can have 2 or 3 captains, but at the end of the day, you got to turn to Jamonte Alexander if you want to get that program going the way it should. Kobe Sargent, he didn't play football, but he worked out daily at the center, man. He was coming at night, just really working out with some guys. I can see a bigger bounce in him. His shot is better. Just them senior guys showing leadership right now, and I think that's going to carry us, a long way.
Yeah, best of luck to you, Coach, this year. I'm sure we'll be seeing you somewhere along the way. But thank you for coming on and talking to us before I turn it over to Charlie. But yeah, best of luck to you this year, Coach, and we're all excited for basketball season to start. That's for sure.
Thanks, Chris, man, and I appreciate your friendship. I thank you for covering us some before you left Hayti when other people weren't covering us, man. I can always look up and see you. You'll come over and interview me and things of that nature, man. So I just want you to know I appreciate you on a real high level. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, of course. But my first question, Coach, is really, last year with the conference stuff, you saw a lot of games against teams in other states, as Mark mentioned. And just looking at the schedule this year, again, you see a lot of these other state teams, like as mentioned, Marion, West Memphis, Lake County, who we played last year, Cairo, and Fulton County. How much really does that bring the team together when they have to be on these long road trips to a Cairo or a Fulton County in Kentucky? How much does that really gel the team for their chemistry as a whole?
Well, you get so used to playing your regular schedules. You see your Hayties, your Portersvilles, your Charleston or whatnot. You see them, in and out 2 to 3 times a season. So when you get a chance to get out of state and play against some different competition, some higher level competition, bigger schools, it's just energy. The guys get adrenaline rushes. They want to compete, and we want to play. We want to play at that level because we want to see a different style. We want to play the good, smart basketball teams. The Kentucky teams are very smart. They play very smart basketball. They execute to the fullest. So we want to play them guys to help us defensively. And then again, we want to get our kids that exposure. And they understand that when they go to these over the river to Kentucky and Illinois. So we welcome all of that competition. I know opening up in this river bend it's gonna be tough, but hey, if you can get in there and upset one of them guys or keep it within arm's reach, you know, you can really gauge yourself on how your season's gonna go. And that's what we're looking forward to doing. Just, you know, we got a holiday weekend, so family can get a chance to watch the boys play. And, you know, we're gonna come out and we're gonna compete against those guys. You know, regardless of their class or what they bring back, it's a show me state. So we come to play.
And on that note as well, you look at the schedule, there's also a couple tournaments to highlight, not even just the Riverbend. You have the Dyersburg Christmas Tournament and the Manila Christmas Tournament in a week span, really. Do you think the team is really ready for these, you know, multiple days of back-to-back, especially these freshmen that really haven't seen that as a whole that might get those varsity minutes?
Yeah, I think they are going to accept the challenge. Like I said, man, just playing at these different levels, we enjoy it. I mean, Coach Mahaffey, you know, as soon as the season's over, he's one of the first guys to call or text me to see if we want to play over there in this shootout every year. And, you know, we try to make it every year. We supposed to have 2 games over there, but I had dropped one because we were supposed to play it at Mary, Kentucky, but some fell through, so I didn't get a chance to get that game back. But, you know, we'll go over there and play Oban. That's always great, one of the best shooting teams we ever see. And then we'll go over to Manila. You know, they called us last year through all the stuff that was going on and invited us to a little shootout. We had a great time over there. We was treated right. Everything went good. 2 good competitive games. So this year the tournament's going to be bigger. I think he got a lot of schools out of the Jonesboro area. So we'll get a chance to get some of that. And, you know, it's always good basketball in Arkansas right now. So I think they accept the challenge. They're looking forward to it. And, you know, when you got a district like mine where you got to face a New Madrid, you got to face Malden, you know, East Prairie is going to be good. You know, Cena's going to be good. And like I say, you never can count Portersville out because they just play so well together. So we have a tough district. And so we want to play all the competition early. We want to play it early so we can make adjustments and see what we need to do to try to get that victory.
I can really tell you that me and Jeremy are very ready to call some of these games. You know, just the past couple years of being able to go to the high school gym and watch this team grow, watch these players grow, has been magical. And best wishes for the season, and I'm ready to see how it goes.
Yeah, we coming out, guys. I actually told my guys the other day. I said we can go 0-10 almost before the Christmas break if we don't come out and play, and if we're not practicing hard, because I know everybody's in their respective gyms are really working hard. I was in Jackson with my middle school, and they was having a jamboree with Jackson and Puxico, and man, when I looked out and seen that Jackson team on the floor, I was like, good Lord. You know, you're looking at a 6'7", 6'8" guy guarding out in open court, man, moving his feet well. You know, that's scary. That's scary. But, you know, we're looking forward to these games, man.
Coach Bell, before I get off here, one other question I want to ask you. You know, you got a lot of young men on this roster. Talk to me a bit about Coach Billings. I know you've had Coach Treese in your corner, and man, what a security blanket he is to have. But Coach Billings, he came with you last year, I believe, and I seen you and him together at the football game when I seen you guys against Portersville. Talk to me about him and what he's actually brought to the table, and what you're excited about his role in the Crowsville Tiger basketball team.
Well, you know, man, losing Coach Treese, you know, Coach Treese is like the like the godfather of discipline around here. Football, he gonna whistle, he gonna yell, and that's just Coach Treese, and he was great. We both old school coaches, and we work really great together. And I miss him. But what Noel has brought to the table, he's brought new energy. He loves basketball. He don't want to do nothing else but basketball, and he gets out there, man. I don't care what I ask for him, he do it. Like I said, he's the reason why this schedule looks the way it looks right now. The kids love him. He keep them energetic and go. He get out there and play with them. He got a lot of knowledge of the game. He played at the collegiate level. He coached at the collegiate level, and he's brought a lot of that experience over here with me. And it's just kind of renewed my energy. You know what I mean? Because I've been in this thing a long time, and he renewed my energy, man, to where like, all right, let's go, let's do this. And like I said, he's just a great asset. I hope we can keep him around a long time. He's happy here. He's kids love him. He's just a great asset, and I'm very happy to have him.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I had one real quick question I meant to ask you earlier. You talked about the size that you said, like Jackson's a 6'6", 6'8" kind of player. One player that I really kept my eye on a lot last year, and you mentioned him, was Colby Sargent. What kind of size is he coming in with this year?
Kobe game, he probably went up a half inch or so over the summer. He's like 6. I think he'll be even 6'3" right now. But he looks so much better, a lot more confident, shooting the ball with a lot of confidence. And
he seemed to be one of the players that I really want to keep my eye on this year, because it seemed like he really progressed last year, that he got better by each game.
Yeah, he's like I said, he works out. Anytime Coach Billings open the gym, he comes in and put up his shots. Then he got with a couple of guys over the summer and off season and really worked out, every night. And like I said, he got a little more bounce. He's ready. He's got that ready look in his face, and like I say, his confidence is a lot higher than it was last year. I think we'll get a lot more scoring and rebounding this year, which is going to help us a lot.
Thank you, Coach. And again, good luck, and I'll throw it back to Mark.
You're muted, Mark, like I was.
I think he's muted.
Mark, come on now.
See, he was laughing at me, see?
Hey, that's called karma, right? Instant karma right there. But what I was thinking, looking at your schedule, we don't actually break down the strength of schedules, but if I had to look at everybody's schedule I got in front of me, which is Hayti, COOTER, South PM, and then yours at the moment, your schedule has got to be number one, man. You loaded that front end up to get you ready for the Bootheel Conference, I'm sure, because that is one of the toughest conferences around. I don't care what year it is. You can throw all the records out the door when that week comes. But, man, you've got the Riverbend Classic. You got Poplar Bluff. You got Jackson that you mentioned. And then you got South Penobscot. You got Cape Notre Dame on your schedule. And then the two tournaments that Charlie was talking about. Before you even get into conference play, Coach, man, you loaded the schedule up. So you're going to definitely be ready for Bootheel Conference play, right?
Yeah, because, like you said, that Bootheel Conference is always great. But, man, this year will go down as one of the toughest conference tournament seasons ever. Because Hayti is loaded, South Pim is loaded. All is going to be, it's just one of them days you're going to have to step on the court to 8 or you're going to lose.
So you got to bring your A game every night.
Yeah.
All right. And it is Coach Lamont Bell, the Carruthersville Tigers. Coach, we wish the best of luck to you. I know you got your opening round matchup coming against the in the Riverbend Classic there, not too far away. And we'll catch up with you later on in the season. We thank you very much for what you do for Carruthersville and the Carruthersville Tigers, and for joining us right here on the Bootheel Sports Network. Man, you are awesome to the community, and we love having you as a guest on our show.
Well, man, I appreciate all you guys, and I'm looking forward to tapping y'all quite a bit this year. Thanks for covering us, man. The guys really appreciate it. So do we.
All right, man. We enjoy it. I can speak for the rest of the guys, and we sure appreciate you. And we will see you next time on the Bootheel Sports Network. Okay, Coach?
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks,
You
guys.
too, man. All right, guys. What a great show we had tonight. We had Coach David MATHIS of COOTER and Coach Lamont Bell of CARUTHERSVILLE. It's going to be an exciting year in the Bootheel Conference, man. I'll tell you what, I can't wait to get this thing rolling, man. We got some great teams in the area. CARUTHERSVILLE, Hayti is going to revamp. I think they're going to be okay. Of course, COOTER is going to be all right in Class 1. And Chris, let's touch bases on Portersville. We really don't know a lot about them. I know they lost a few players, but they did that in football, and they started out hot in football. Got simmered down there a little while, but what are we expecting out of Portersville in basketball this year, Chris?
Well, they actually got out of the Riverbend Classic, so they're going to start their season off at Gideon at the Bulldog Classic, and it's going to be nice to see that they're going to be around a lot more familiar territory down here. Coach T.J. Smith, Coach Jordan Bidwell, and Coach Jalen Mosby are going to be heading up the team once again. Coach TJ is, he took over for Coach Irby, and he left quite a legacy there. And Coach Irby's a great guy, and there's just a lot of good people at Portersville. But it's Coach TJ's turn. He might be in his second or third year, but he's got some seniors that's going to be on that team. It's probably going to start with Xavion Bogan, who's a senior. Jaquan Bogan is listed on the roster as well. So anytime that he's around, he's going to bring something to the table. Houston Parton is also on the roster as well. He's a great athlete, as we all seen from the football field. Antonio Hickenbottom, Deuce, is going to be around. He's going to have some speed. Evan Windsor, who also was a football standout for Portersville, is also roster on the team. And then they got some freshmen and sophomores. Without knowing Portersville very well, I know they're going to be good. They got athletes and they got great coaches. So I'm just excited. I'm going to reach out to Coach TJ. Maybe we can have him on this show, but it's just one of them wait and see things. But there's some athletes on this roster. I can promise you that.
Yeah, let's get some closing thoughts here, man. And speaking of next week's show, we all know it's Thanksgiving, so we're probably going to be on early and looking at Monday or Tuesday, depending on everybody's schedule. But we will post it and let everybody know for sure. Jeremy, you got some closing thoughts, and then we'll close out with Charlie, and we'll close the night out.
I think this is, you said it best. The Bootheel Conference, all these teams around here, it's not every any given Sunday kind of feel. It's every given night now, and I if you were to ask me right now to pick a team that's going to be the best in the area, couldn't do it. I think it's just going to be so fun to watch these teams because that they're going to get better and better each and every night. So I'm ready to sit back, relax for a couple of days, and then hit the court as hard as the players do.
Charlie, you got any closing thoughts, buddy?
Besides the fact that I'm really just amped up for this basketball season as a whole, and to watch this conference unfold, this looks like it might be whoever comes out of this might win the whole thing. This is iron sharpens iron. If it was a basketball conference, every single team is looking like they have a shot at it this year, and it's really impressive from Crothersville to Portersville to Hayti, all the way to New Madrid. It's just, a wide open conference this year, and I'm ecstatic to see the season as a whole.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't even mention, guys, is the team that finished in fourth place in the state last year, South Pemiscot, man, and they've got almost everybody back. I know they lost a senior there. Can't remember his name right now, for God's sakes, but they're going to be loaded and looking for a return.
J.D. Morton's who they lost.
Yes, J.D. Morton. Sorry about that, J.D. Played an important role on that team as well. But, man, so we got a lot of good games we're going to have on the Bootheel Sports Network. You'll never know where we be. We might show up in your game, in your town at any given moment. We will give you a notice, however. We'll make sure all those come up on our Facebook page and YouTube page. This is Mark Manley. That is Jeremy Abrams, the voice of the Carruthersville Tigers. Chris Brown, the voice of the Portersville Bulldogs. And Charlie, I am finally in front of the camera, Duckworth, who's always behind that sucker. But we love Charlie. Charlie brings good energy, man. He's got a lot of insight on the inside. He is our inside info, especially at Carruthersville. We will see you next week on Shooting Hoops in a Boot podcast right here on the Bootheel Sports Network. Hey, good.